Good morning, everybody. Okay, so yesterday I ended the video with a illustration of being a trapeze artist and how you can make similarities to that and going through life and making progress and taking a bit of a chance. And that is a really nice story. It's one that I've only recently uncovered. But there is another story which tries to explain it as well, and I think explains it even better. And I've known this story I'm going to share with you for years, as long as I can remember. And basically this story is trying to do the same thing as a trapeze artist, but I actually think it does a little bit of a better job of explaining why it is so important to have a go, to take a leap, to put your fear to one side and make things happen. And the story's this, okay? So you imagine there's a cliff edge, and on the cliff you've got all the people looking out, and those people looking out, they represent the vast majority of the population. But what they're looking at is a few guys and girls who are soaring through the sky with parachutes. They're free, they're successful, they're leading the way, and everyone on the cliff is looking out and wishing that they were soaring through the skies and having the time that these guys and girls are having on these parachutes. But the catch is that anybody on that cliff can get themselves a parachute and soar through the sky. But the problem is, they got to jump. And the second problem is, the parachute doesn't open straight away. And when they jump, they're going to start falling. They're going to hit a few rocks. They're going to have a few tumbles. They're going to go through some pain. And then the parachute opens. And then they start to soar. And then they start to achieve. And those people on the edge of the cliff are looking, now comparing themselves to this individual who jumped. And I think that is an amazing and an incredibly accurate description of what this game is all about. You have got to jump off that cliff. And you have got to be prepared for the first 10, 15 seconds of that fall to be painful, to be hard. You're probably going to even be regretting jumping. You're going to be worried your parachute isn't going to open. But when it does, you're then flying, you're soaring, you're safe, you're free, you're achieving. And the reason I start this video by telling that story is because I want to share something with you which is me, again, being completely open and honest about my journey. And, just to remind you all where I'm coming from with these videos, I think there's a lot of motivational self-help videos out there that are published by people who, it would be fair to say, in some way or another, are probably a lot further down the road than I am. I feel as though I'm kind of in exactly the same position as the vast majority of people that are watching these videos. It's just that I'm pretty decent at articulating it and talking about it, but never let it be said that I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I'm worried and I'm scared and I'm fearful that maybe I'm not going to get there, or maybe the path's going to be more difficult, or something which I didn't allow for is going to happen to me. And the interesting thing about lockdown and this coronavirus and everything, I've realised that before lockdown, I had two, I didn't call them excuses because it would almost make me a bit of a hypocrite. But the more I am thinking about it, I had two excuses as to why I'm maybe not quite getting where I need to be, or not quite getting where I believe I can be, okay? And those two excuses were that, number one, I felt as though I just didn't have enough time in the day. Anybody who knows me well will know that I have a very active imagination when it comes to business and new ideas. And I had a locker full of ideas, which if anybody listened to me talking about them, they were always going to be ones that were going to launch when I'm a bit further down the road. I'm going to get going with that when my company's a bit more self-sufficient and a bit more solid. So that was my first excuse. I used to tell people like my wife and maybe people at work that, oh, well, listen, it's going well at the minute, but when we launch that, and when I've got the time to put that together, and when I've got the time to launch that service, this is going to accelerate even further, okay? And the second one was money. So my company is doing well, and we are growing incredibly quickly. But anybody who knows business and certainly startups and fledgling companies, you do need capital. You need to reinvest all the time. And although my turnover goes up year on year, the vast majority of my money goes back into the business. And I used to, put it this way, I put an Instagram post on probably in January this year, and it was a screenshot of somebody. It said, entrepreneurs need 3 things. They need talent, they need ideas, and they need money. And I wrote underneath it, anybody got any dollar? Because I have the most amazing talented team around me. Believe me, if you could pay mortgages with ideas, my house would be massive. But it was the money thing that, again, I used to say, well, maybe I'll seek investment when we're a bit further down the road. But if you strip it back, it was another excuse. So, as we all know, we've had a load of time on our hands, and I am very pleased with how I've spent that time. I have managed to get the things and the ideas and the services off the ground which could be launched now, and they will be being promoted and sold over the coming months. And I know very, very clearly what I need to do next year, because there are certain services and other ideas which need to wait for a number of reasons that I won't bore you with. But here we are. I've never ever been more prepared, more settled, and more sure of my path, okay? But then we still had this big cloud hanging over me, the money. So imagine me when I wake up one morning and find out that the government has launched the Bounce Back Loan Scheme. I genuinely thought at the time, well, there it is. There's the money I need. I can reinvest that in the company to develop it, to take on more staff, to ride this storm and come back stronger than ever. But then there was another little sting in the tail. I bank with not one of the main 4 banks. And my particular bank was very, very late to the party. So all around me were these people getting, these big lumps of money to give them some security, to possibly invest in new ideas, possibly even just buy them 12 months of sanity to then give back to the bank. Whatever it is, it's entirely, personal and up to you. And my bank hadn't released it, and I was getting agitated, and the weeks rolled by. I remember telling Anna, I just need to get my hands on this money. If I get my hands on this money, the next 12 to 24 months, I'm going to be able to do what I've always wanted to do, okay? And finally, after 5 weeks of waiting, my bank launched the Bounce Back Loan Scheme. I applied and I got the money the next morning. And I woke up, I looked at my bank account, the money was in there. And the amount I went on about this bloody money, you'd think that I would be hosting some form of mini street party to celebrate I'd got the final piece of the jigsaw. But the weirdest thing happened. I felt completely the opposite. I felt scared. I felt worried. I felt as though all of my excuses were now off the table. And the next 1 to 2 years, it's game time. It's now time to do what I've been telling everybody I'm gonna do. And that is fucking scary. It's really, really scary. And I am about to, going back to my analogy of a parachute, probably take the biggest leap I've ever took. I'm gonna now throw myself off the cliff, And I'm probably gonna fall for a little bit longer than I have before, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna step up. I can't not now. But I just wanted to host this video to explain to you lot that being scared is not exclusive to a certain type of individual. We all get scared. Some people don't admit it. Some people make excuses. Some people pretend it's not happening to them. Some people pretend they don't want to jump. It's not for me. I don't want to jump. I'm happy with the way I am. It's all part of the fear that cripples us. And I'm really excited to, in one way or another, via YouTube and these videos, share that journey with you guys. Because hopefully it will give you the encouragement and give you the confidence to fling yourself off that cliff and trust in your parachute. So we'll catch up tomorrow, and I hope you got something out of today's video. Cheers.